Okay, well, thank you for that. So we've got our agenda. Let's go ahead and get started then. Okay, so a lot of questions we get from students is what is my day going to look like here at Fort Hays Tech North Central? Where can I find my schedule? How do I know what time I need to show up for classes? So for some of your classes, we do have a schedule and that is printed in terms of times. So you can find your class schedule in your Techno account. So if you go to Techno, the admin tab, and then my schedule. If you do that, Techno, admin tab, and my schedule. Again, you can access Techno from a laptop or computer. You could also access Techno through the My Trail app. So if you were with me during registration days, we set up the Techno account on your My Trail app, and you'll be able to get to your Techno account through that as well. So some of your classes, though, don't reflect a schedule. So maybe like welding or diesel or auto, you might get in there and go, hey, I don't see a time associated with this course. So faculty determine what that week schedule will look like for lab time and shop time when you get here on the first day for some of those courses. I always advise students to typically plan to be in class, including your gen ed times, from 8 to 3:30 most days. Some of your programs may have an opportunity for some Friday afternoons where you won't have class. I believe Ag Tech has that option. Maybe automotive on the Beloit campus might have that option. So it just depends on how your faculty schedules your shop time in those classes as to what your schedule is going to look like. If you are looking to get a part-time job while you are a student here, I would say I would not start that job to probably about 4:30, giving yourself a little bit of time to finish up some things in class, finish up some lab, and get to your job. So plan to be in class typically from 8 to 3:30 most days. If you are a nursing student, that is going to hold true except for your clinical days. Those days will be scheduled as 12-hour days. So if you're coming in as an LPN student for this fall, you can expect when clinicals come around that those clinicals will be scheduled as 12s for both your LPN year and starting in this fall semester. And I believe in the spring semester as well on both the Beloit and Hayes campuses for LPN. So that'll be shared with you on the first day. Any courses like a gen ed course, some of our information technology courses, your Tech Connect course, those schedules are printed and you can find that when you go to the My Schedule in the admin tab in your Techno account. So let's talk a little bit about advising. Advising is one of the resources, programs, we'll kind of use that term, that we feel is really important for the success of students here at Fort Hays Tech North Central. We have worked to develop our advising program and really worked with our advisors to be that go-to person for our students. So as we talked about a little bit during registration days, as you met with your advisor, we practice what's called proactive advising. That means we're going to reach out to you, we're going to make contact with you students, and we're going to make sure that things are going well for you while you're here. And the hope with using proactive advising is that we can visit and capture any kind of problems before they become overwhelming or too big, or that you've got a hole that we can't dig out of to save that semester. So we want to make sure that we have frequent touch points and contacts with you to make sure things are going well. So as part of that, we have 3 mandatory checkpoints during the semester. Your advisor is going to reach out to you and make some appointments to help you along the way during these 3 checkpoints. It is important, students, that you keep those appointments, that when your advisor reaches out, you respond to that person so that we can get these scheduled for you. So the first one is they're 2 weeks in. So we're going to go through the first week, and then that second week, maybe into the third a little bit, your advisor is going to check in with you. These are quick check-in points. Hey, how are things going? Did you find everything you need? Do you have all your materials? Are you struggling to get books ordered? Where are we having some early initial challenges? So we want to make sure that things are going smoothly within the first 2 weeks. The next check-in is what we call week 6 to 8. This is an important time in the development of the semester. By weeks 6, 7, 8, the newness of the semester has started to wear off. We've got major assignments due. We've had our first test. We've had some papers due. We're getting some grades in. And so this is the time for us to really sit down and have a touch point and talk through how things are working for the semester. Hopefully by week 6 through 8, we've made a friend. We've got connected. We've got involved in an activity. All those things are going to help you be a successful student. And so we will meet with you at that time, one-on-one, to visit with you and make sure things are going all right. And then lastly, when we get enrolled for the spring semester, we will also have a one-on-one session, usually around the beginning of November, to check in with you at that point. We'll wrap up what the first semester has been for you. We'll talk about those processes. We'll also talk about opportunities for you for the future. If you are a certificate student, at this time, we're going to talk to you about some options that you might have to return for a AAS degree. We might talk to you about some options that you have to go on to Fort Hays State University and utilize some of our transfer and articulations that we've been developing, our pathways into further education, whether that might be another associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, if that is something that interests you. So we're going to share with you some options at that time and help you choose some classes that might set you on that path for further education beyond what we offer here at our institution. We will repeat this same process again in the spring. So each semester that you're here with us as a student, we will have those mandatory 3-point check-ins throughout your time as a student. But also note, as we say here on the slide, any other time that you want to check in with your advisor, please call, please reach out, send them an email, phone call, message them in the app. That's always an option. And we'll set up an appointment and sit down with you and meet with you as needed. So please use that resource, use your advisor as that go-to person. That's what they're here for. They can connect you to other pieces and parts and people within the institution. If that is something that is not in their area or their expertise, they know who to connect you with to help you solve any challenges that you might be experiencing. So advising is a big part of your academic toolkit to help you be successful and reach that end goal of graduation. Okay, so let's really get into some academic expectations. So we want to talk a little bit about grades. Dean Owen, in her session last week, if you missed her session last week, you might be able to go back, find the recording, and listen to that. I think we have that posted on our YouTube. So you might want to go and check that out because she did a great job in setting up all of the expectations for student success. She went through how to go through a syllabus and how you might look at that document that you get at the beginning of a class to figure out what those expectations are with your faculty member. She also really talked about the importance of establishing a relationship with your faculty member, making sure that they know who you are, getting to know them, asking those important questions. So part of that syllabus and part of what she was showing you is some of those academic expectations, and talking about grading. So we do have two components to a lot of our programs. So we have the shop time, the lab time. We have our carpentry students building a house. We have our automotive students working on vehicles. We have auto collision, painting in there, IT, working on networking, building computers. All of those things are great and a big part of our program. But We also do have some classroom work, book work, assignments that correspond with that lab work. So many of our programs do have different assignments in there. So you could have daily work, lab work, so getting a grade for your shop time, lab time, tests, projects, your participation in class, being prepared, making sure you're following safety protocols. All of that are part of your grade. So when you get that syllabus for that class, it's really important for you to look in there and see what those expectations from your faculty member that are laid out in that syllabus for that course. Not all courses have the same expectations. So it's really important to pay attention to that syllabus. So if I am in welding, and that is my program, I might have a different set of expectations for blueprint reading than I do for SMAW. SMAW might have more lab components to that. Blueprint reading might have some more in classroom components, skills, tests, maybe some math involved with that. So again, each of your courses, even though it's within your program, are going to have some different expectations. You will receive a grade for each of the courses that you are enrolled in. So not an overall grade for your program, but a grade for each of the courses that you are enrolled in. So it's important to keep track of that information. As we talked about during our registration days, you can find your grades in your Techno account. So if you go to your Techno and you'll see your courses, when you first log in, you'll see a list of your courses. You can click on your course, and that's where your grades are going to appear. So you'll be able to track all of the assignments that you have for that particular course and how you've been graded and what your grade is. At any given time in your class, in your Techno account, you'll be able to see a running total. That is your percentage for that class. Just like any other class, or just maybe what your perhaps high school experience was, or maybe if you took another college class, it's really important for you as a student to pay attention to that. Our instructors are humans. They sometimes make mistakes. They may enter a grade wrong. They may miss an assignment that you've turned in and they didn't see it. So really, students, it's up to you to pay attention to what is being recorded in there and ask those important questions. So if you see something missing or you have questions as to why, we're going to encourage you to be a self-advocate. Reach out to your faculty member, ask those questions, and that'll help you, again, work on that relationship and be active and engaged in your learning process. It's also important to note you will have some homework. So not all courses will have homework, but you will. You will have some papers to write, especially for certain general education courses. You might have a presentation to make. You might have assignments or readings outside of class time. So make sure that you are setting aside some of your time to work on homework, work on assignments outside of your class time. So while we have a different approach to class time, we spend a lot of time in class, we spend a lot of time in the shop or the labs that correspond with your classes. Maybe then you would at a traditional university or maybe another community college, but we still do have some out of class work that may be required of you. So it's really important to use your time wisely while you are in the classroom, and then to make sure that you are keeping tabs and track of those assignments. So maybe it's a planner that you need. Maybe it's an app. Maybe you're a great list maker. I use my notes app a lot on my phone to record things that I need to remember. So maybe that's how you will function, but it's important to know that you will have some homework, and those books that we're going to talk about here in a little bit that you need to purchase, they're important because many of those books are where your assignments are going to be found. The other part I want to stress, and Dean Owen stressed this last week as well, is attendance. So some of our faculty do not accept makeup work. and it is traditionally very hard to make up a lab time. So obviously, if there is an emergency or you are ill, your faculty are going to work with you to help you through that process. But if it's opening day of deer season and you choose to check out your tree stand versus come to class that day, that's probably a really traditional example. But you know that may not, you might not be allowed to do any makeup work. And so attendance is very important. Many of your programs do have a percentage of your grade based on participation in what they call shop work, lab time, etc. Since we do try to mimic a lot of a traditional work environment, and some of our labs do live work, like what we see in automotive or ag tech, where they're working on customer vehicles or equipment, that time is important as well to your learning process and your education. So attendance is really important while you're here. So, you know, make sure you're upfront with your instructor if there's something happening in which you need to be absent. Communicate with your instructor, let them know you're not going to be here, even if it is for deer season. Make sure you communicate. They'd rather know that up front than for you not to show up and be a no-show. So again, those communication channels are going to be important for you with your faculty members. Okay, so we're going to switch gears here and talk a little bit about some requirements for graduation. So we're going to lead up to those graduation requirements here. So we have our curriculum set up for each program, which is a series of courses in that program. But both our certificate programs, the 1 year, and our AAS programs, our 2-year programs, have general education components to them that are required for graduation. So for our certificate programs, that is psychology, computer applications, and a math course. Many of our certificate program students will take essential math, but if you are bringing in a college algebra or even an intermediate algebra, we do accept that as that math as well. So psychology, computer apps, math. It's important to note you will have time set aside during your day schedule to take those classes. So many of you have already been registered. You have those classes set. That's important. It's also important to note you need to pass these classes in order to graduate. For our AAS programs, we have 5 gen ed classes that we ask you to take, and that is 15 hours of gen ed. So psychology, computer applications, and math again. Same with math. We have the same 3 choices of essential math, intermediate algebra, or college algebra. But then we add English composition and fundamentals of oral communication. That's our fancy name for public speaking or speech. So those are our requirements for gen ed. All of those times can be scheduled during our day-to-day schedule. We do offer these classes as well in an online format if that is something that is more attractive to you as a student. So we do offer them as online. It's important to note though, online does not mean it's easier. Online is the same components that you're going to get face-to-face. It's just in an online version. So if you know that you respond better in a face-to-face situation with an instructor who is giving you reminders daily or 3 times a week when you see them, then you need to know kind of what your learning styles are and how you might best suit to be successful in that course. So online does not always mean that it's easier, but these are your requirements to make sure that you have all of these, you know, to graduate. So let's kind of go into our general graduation requirements. I know that we're jumping the gun, we're just getting started, but again, it's important for us to know what that end goal is as we work to this and know these things ahead of time. We have a very, very short time that you're here with us as students. It may seem like a long time to you, but for us, it's really short. Some of you might only be here for 2 semesters. So that doesn't allow you a lot of time to, you know, not take something seriously or miss some assignments or get yourself kind of in a hole that's hard to get out of during that semester. So we want to make sure that you know and you're aware of these things so that when we come to May, we're ready to walk across that stage. So graduation requirements. First, complete all program requirements, including your general education courses with a passing grade. Now, we consider a passing grade D or better. So if you are in a gen ed course and it is not your favorite, D can be done. But let's go to that next point. Have a cumulative GPA of 2.0 or higher. So when we look at that, a 2.0 is a C average. So if we are kind of doing that D is done line for some of our courses, we best be making sure that we've got some higher grades in there to bring our GPA up to that 2.0 or C average. What is really difficult for us, myself included, our registrar who puts in a lot of work to check and make sure that students are ready for graduation. What is really difficult for us is to look at a student who has a 1.9 or a 1.8 and tell them, or 1.9, and you cannot graduate. And so we don't want that to happen to any of you who are on this session with me tonight. So it's important to know that that 2.0 or higher is what you need to graduate. So keep that in mind. The third thing that I have on this list is you must pass Tech Connect. So Tech Connect is our student success course. All brand new students. So if you are a first year full-time student with us, you will take Tech Connect either on the Hayes campus or the Beloit campus. It's a 1-hour class. It runs about 12 or 13 weeks. So it doesn't go the full length of the semester. But you have to pass that class. So you will have assignments in there as well. Generally, the assignments are fun. Generally, most of the time you can get things done while you're in class if you use your time wisely. But it is a graduation requirement. So please make sure that you're attending your Tech Connect class. You will have that on your schedule. So if you go to, again, Techno Admin My Schedule, you'll be able to see who your Tech Connect instructor is and what time you have that course. Tech Connect is taught by a variety of folks on campus. So some of you might get me. I teach a Tech Connect course. We have some faculty. We have some staff. We have our director of foundation and advancement teaching a course. So we really get a lot of different perspectives from all aspects of the institution working with students in this class. So it usually is a good experience, but it is a graduation requirement. So we want to make sure you pass the first time. You will need to complete a graduation application. More will come out about that in the spring semester. Here's one we're going to touch on a little bit later, but an official high school transcript must be on file. So as part of our requirements here at the institution, to graduate, you must have either earned your GED or have graduated from a high school. So we need to have a high school transcript on file. Many of you, if you've told your counselor that you're coming here, it is probably already sent, but it is something that you'll definitely want to make sure that we have on file. And then lastly, no outstanding bills owed to the college. We'll cover that one though as we get into the spring semester along with that graduation application. So I'm going to pause here just for a minute. We've talked a lot about requirements and some academic expectations. Do we have any questions right now that we want to answer before we kind of get into our next round of slides? Anything that we want to go over?
And if you don't want to turn your video on to ask the question, feel free to put it in the chat and I can read that to Jen as well. So throughout the night here, if you put it in, I will go ahead and get that answered.
Thank you. Oh, looks like we're getting a couple.
All right. So the first question is, when are payments due?
Okay. So payments are due anytime now, but they are due by the first day of class.
And then also, do any other classes transfer other than math?
Other than math?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Great question. Yes. So all of our general education courses that we talked about in that slide, so psychology, computer applications, math, speech, English comp, all of those will transfer into another institution. So another community college, a four-year institution, K-State, Fort Hays State University, Pitt State, any of those places that you choose to go, they will transfer. We will also have some of our technical courses that may transfer as well. So if you are in some of our business courses, so if you're in business office management or business technology, some of those courses are considered system-wide transfer. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. They will also transfer. Some of our IT courses and telecommunication courses also transfer, as well as nursing.
Okay, one last question, and then we can kind of go on and I can keep answering in the chat. This
Okay.
one is, I was told that since I took welding at Washburn, those credits would be honored and I can get an associate's with only 1 year. Is there anything extra I need to do?
Sure. Yep. I think what we need to do is if you want to stop in and talk to our registrar, Darcy Offit. I'm not sure which campus are you on? Is it the Beloit campus or the Hayes campus? If you're on the Beloit campus, you can come in to talk to Darcy Offit. And so what we'll do is we will create a degree plan for you. So we could look at your credits from Washburn Tech. So welding is what we call an aligned program in the state. And so many of those welding courses are aligned. So we could take those classes, look at those, see how many credits you have, and then combine that with your current program, develop a degree plan for you, and you will get what we call an associate's degree in applied technology. That's a great question. Okay.
All right, if you want to go on, I'll answer a few questions in here and then we can take some more.
Sounds great. All right, so let's talk a little bit about internships. Again, we're kind of jumping ahead, but it's important to get started now thinking about this, especially if you're in a one-year program. If you're in our heavy PHAC, welding, these are where we need to start thinking about some internship opportunities. So internships happen in many of our programs in the spring semester prior to graduation. So if I'm an electrical student, it is the fourth semester I'm here. If I'm a heavy equipment student, it's my second semester because I only have a one-year program. Students must meet the graduation requirements to go out on internship. But here's where we need you to start thinking a little bit in advance during the fall semester about internships. We have several career fairs that we will do on both campuses. So we'll have one in Hayes and one in Beloit. And it's really important that you start to attend those in the fall semester because your internship position must be pre-approved by your program instructor. So there's some paperwork and some involvement and some sign-offs that have to happen prior to going out on internship. We want to give you plenty of time to do those. So we need to make sure that that position is pre-approved by your faculty member. Dates are set as the first available date and it's noted within the catalog and course syllabi. So you'll be able to see those dates when you get your syllabus in our course catalog. And that will tell you when you can go out. But it's really important to plan ahead. So please don't wait till March of your spring semester to start thinking about your internship. Really, that October, November timeframe is when you really want to start planning for that. So I know, crazy. We're just starting to talk about August, and I'm already telling you what to do in November and March and all of these times. But it's really important to think about this ahead of time, especially if you're in one of our certificate programs in which it's only 2 semesters. So we talked a little bit about this with that question. So transfer credit. Please make sure that we have all of your official transcripts on file. That includes a high school transcript, which we just mentioned earlier, and any college transcripts you have in which you are transferring in credit. So if I took a concurrent English course at my high school, I need to make sure that I get the transcript from the awarding institution, not just my high school transcript, but let's say Barton County gave me that. I took a class through Barton County. I need that Barton County transcript to be sent to our registrar. I know when I sat down and worked with some of the incoming students through our registration days, I did a little advising at that time. Many of you shared with me that you had credit that you were bringing in, but we didn't have that transcript on file yet. So I said, hey, please make sure we get that transcript on file. When you meet with your advisor here in the fall, if we do not have a copy of that transcript, they will enroll you in those courses again, because we want to make sure that you graduate on time. So if you know you've got credit and you know you haven't sent a transcript, please get that to us as soon as possible. So our institution participates in the Kansas Seamless Transfer. So we just talked about that with Jeanette. So what that means is the state of Kansas has done a lot of great work to make sure the credits you earn with us or the credits you have earned through another institution during that concurrent class, or if you took classes at another institution prior to coming to Fort Hays Tech North Central, that those classes stay with you in transfer, especially on the gen ed side. So that's what we have called the Kansas Seamless Transfer. We also have some of our technical credits that transfer through program alignment, and we participate in that as well. So as we had the question about welding, some of those classes will come over and transfer because it is a line program. That isn't the case for every program, every course. So it's really important to work with our registrar to answer and ask those transfer questions. So her contact information is right down here. It's also available on our website, but if you want to take a screenshot of that or a picture, that would be great. So Darcy Offit is our registrar. She is housed on the Beloit campus, but she works with students on Hayes as well. And we have her phone number, her email here for you to reach out to really kind of dive into those transfer questions that you have. As part of our affiliation with Fort Hays State University in Northwest Technical College, Northwest Kansas Technical College, which is now Fort Hays Tech Northwest, we were been really working on a lot of what we call pathways to help with seamless transfer. So pathways that'll take you to maybe another associate's degree. So an example, if you're here for welding, we have a pathway where you can go to Fort Hays State University, attend classes on that campus for a year, and then reverse transfer those back to NCK or North Central. And then that is an associate's degree in welding engineering technician technology. We also have that same availability for our carpentry students. So our carpentry construction technology students can take that program for a year, go to Fort Hays State University, take courses on that campus, and then again, earn an associate's degree in building construction site management. So really gives you some other opportunities. So we've been working really hard to create some pathways to help you further your education if that's something you want to do. Even if it's not something you want to do right away, those pathways still exist and they're there for you when you want to come back to them. All right, tools and supplies. This is an important area. So I know many of you are probably looking to purchase your tools and supplies. So if you want to know where your tool list is of what is required for your program, the best place to go is our public website. Our public website is still the address that you see here on the slide, nckTC.edu. So that hasn't changed yet. So you can still go out to our public website. Go to the Academics tab and click on your program. There you'll see a complete tool list as well as vendors that have given us quotes or bids. Now, there is no requirement for you to use our selected vendors. Those are just people that we have partnered with who are sharing some maybe benefits or discounts to you as a student. But that is not a requirement that you have to choose one of those vendors. You can choose your own, however that works. You can have all of your tools shipped to the college, If you're working with one of our selected vendors, many times that's what they'll suggest to do. So if you're buying tools through Mac or Snap-on, as an example, they will go ahead and ship them to the college so that you don't have to be responsible for hauling those back and forth. Those toolboxes are rather large and heavy. And I know if I'm paying that much money, I would hate to run the risk of that thing falling off a trailer on the interstate. But so please feel free to use that and have them shipped here. But you're more than welcome to bring any existing tools as long as they meet the requirements. So if you've got a set of tools from dad or grandpa or some that you have, please feel free to bring those. As long as they meet the requirements on that list, you are welcome to bring your existing tools. There might be some other supplies on that list, so please pay attention to what's on that list in terms of any supplies that you might need. Generally on the first day of class, if there's any extra supplies that are small in nature, your instructors might go over those. So for example, if you need perhaps a work gloves or a safety vest, that might be something that is talked about on the first day of class. Usually those are small investments, so not anything as major as tools that you need to consider. We do get some questions about computer requirements. Do I need a computer? Should I purchase a computer? Do I need to bring a computer? So my answer first is a computer is going to be pretty handy. So while it's not always a requirement, it is going to be very useful for you. Many of our programs do utilize online resources, including online textbooks. So our diesel program, as an example, uses a program called Cengage Unlimited, in which they do have their textbooks available to you, and then activities that are part of that program that you'll go in and do online. So again, a computer is going to be handy for that. So if you're going to bring a computer, we ask you to bring a laptop. We ask you, if you can, not to use a Chromebook. A Chromebook will help you with some of our courses, but if you're taking computer applications, as an example, a Chromebook is not going to work for that. We do have a little difficulty sometimes with Macs making the translation, especially for computer applications. But if it's accessing online textbooks, those sorts of things, a Mac will work for you to do that. If you do not have a computer, please don't necessarily worry about that. If you have access to one, that's great. But we do have some availability to check out laptops through our Student Success Center. Now, please note, they're older and slower. So again, they're free. We don't ask you to pay for those or rent them or down payment. We just need to get your ID and scan that. And we make those available, but they are older computers and they are slower computers. So just keep that in mind as you are looking at that. But if you do have a laptop, I'd highly encourage you to bring it. I think you're going to use it a lot in several of your courses, not only your gen eds, but also your program to access a lot of the online resources that we have. Also, it's really important to note, please have your tools the very first day. So there's a lot of work that is done in the first couple weeks of class to go through tools, safety, protocol, making sure we understand how to keep our tools safe, locked up, all of those processes to get things arranged and ready for the start of the semester. So it's super important you have those tools the first day. Some of you are going to get right into using those tools in week 2. So don't wait around too long to get those tools ordered, to make sure that you have those here and ready for you on the first day of class. All right, the bookstore. So all of our books that are required for our courses are available through our online bookstore in our partnership with eCampus. So there is the website right there, nckTC.ecampus.com. You can also find that if you go to our public web, go to Current Students Bookstore. It's also available right on the very front page of our website. You can see that Fall Bookstore open. You'll be able to click there and you can go in and purchase your books. So those are all purchased through eCampus. A couple of things that are really important to note in terms of us helping you if something happens with those books or to track those books. Please use your NCKTC email address. So during registration days, we gave you an email address. We practiced logging into that. That email address is what you need to use to purchase your books. We do have the option to and the opportunity for you to use financial aid starting August 1st. So if you are using, if you are getting financial aid and you have excess dollars after your tuition, fees, bills are paid, let's say you have $400 left over, we will upload that as a voucher to eCampus on August 1st. That allows you to utilize those resources prior to our disbursement to purchase any texts or books that you might have available. So it'll be in there as a voucher, and you can purchase your things through your books and your supplies through eCampus that are available to you. So that'll begin August 1st. If you are a Promise Act student, please, as you go in and you purchase your books, save your receipt, save your purchase that you made, and then you will use that to turn that into the Office of Financial Aid to cover those expenses through the Promise Act. Again, the Promise Act, we will do all tools and books as required. So whatever on that required tool list and whatever on that book list. So I kind of forgot to mention that with the Promise Act for tools. Save your receipts if you are purchasing tools and you are a Promise Act student. You want to save those because that's what you'll turn in to our financial aid director to be reimbursed through the Promise Act. Another thing that you might want to screenshot or take a quick picture of while you're here on this slide is we have the customer service and email available for eCampus. If you're having troubles logging in or some issues on that side, we really can't necessarily solve that for you. So we're going to ask you to at least start with customer service. If you feel like you're not getting anywhere with customer service, please reach out to us. We'll do our best to intervene and help you with that process. But that's our first step to trying to solve some of those user issues that you might have with the bookstore. For the most part, it works fairly easy. The bookstore does offer a ship to campus. That is free. So if you want free shipping, it'll ship right to campus and we'll have the books ready for you for pickup on the first day or move-in day on the Beloit campus. So we'll have them available to you. So again, starting August 1st, financial aid vouchers will be uploaded into eCampus. So if you have any excess funds, they will be available to you and you can use those as you are ordering your books and materials. If you have questions about that or any issues, please let us know. There are a couple of programs. I'm going to just mention Power Sports right now. So Power Sports is a new program for us. We've got a new faculty member who started here in July, who's been working really hard to get that program set up. So we are just getting some book adoptions put into the system and hopefully we have them in there by August 1st. But he's been working to get those book adoptions made so we can upload them. So if you go in today and you're looking for Power Sports, you're probably not going to find anything. If that is your situation and you have questions about that, please reach out to us and we'll be glad to help you and guide you along that process. Our admissions representatives will be reaching out and they are great resources for you to check in with questions about the process as well. Okay, we're at the first day. I'm running out of time. So, first day of class, August 19th. That is our first day of class. We ask you to report to your program at 8 in the morning. So if you've been sleeping in this summer, I'm sure many of you have not, because I'm sure many of you have been working, but if you are, it's going to be an early day. So please report to your program. Some of you might show on your schedule, especially Hayes campus students, that you might have a gen ed that morning at 8 o'clock. We are not going to have gen ed classes on that Monday. Please go to your program so that we can make sure that we get you acclimated to your program, make sure we've got tools, everything. We're introduced to your program. Orientation will occur during that first week. More information will be sent out about orientation I know that Dean Owen mentioned orientation in her session, as well as Dean Britt in the student experience session. So more information will be set out about when orientation times are, but report to your program on that Monday at 8 a.m. Bring all your tools, all your supplies. If you are participating and living in housing on the Beloit campus during move-in day, that Saturday on the 17th, we will have the opportunity to open up our program spaces for you to move your tools in. So you'll be able to do that at that time. If you're a returning student, you'll be able to do the same thing on the Sunday. And then that Monday on the Hayes campus, if you've got your tools, bring them that first day. If you've ordered tools through Snap-on, Mac, any of our vendors, even Becker's, and you've had them shipped to campus, they will be available to you. They will be here. And any books that you've ordered and you've had them shipped to campus, they will be available and available for pickup. We'll have pickup times for move-in times during Beloit campus move-in time. And they'll also be available on the first day on the Beloit campus, and they'll be available on the first day on the Hayes campus as well. Information will be sent out to you about where to go to pick up all of those things, in the times that is going to be available to you to pick up tools, books that have been shipped to campus. All right, let's go through our checklist. Here's our August checklist. First, please check your email. I gave that to you guys as an assignment if you were in my registration session. So hopefully you're checking your email, your Techno, and the MyTrail app. Lots of information is coming on those platforms as we get closer to the start of the semester and students returning to campus. Send your transcripts. If you haven't done that, send your transcripts, send your transcripts, send your transcripts. Make sure you've got your tools and books purchased. So go online, get that done, get those supplies and materials that you need to be a successful student right away. Make sure you have the appropriate technology. If you are not bringing a computer, you may check out a computer on the first day of class or during our move-in times if you're doing housing on the Beloit campus. So that'll be available to you. So make sure you get that appropriate technology that you need for your program starting in that first week. Get prepared for the first day. Make sure you have all your things together. You know, it wouldn't hurt to purchase a couple of new notebooks and maybe some writing utensils to help you along the way, because you may have some notes to take or things to write. If you want to take notes on an iPad, make sure you've got that ready. And then lastly, when you get to campus, pop in and say hi to your advisor. Your advisor's here. You met them during registration day. Let them know you're here. You're looking forward to the start of semester, and pop in and say hi. Here's my contact information. So I have that here on the screen. You can reach out to me, email. You can also message me in MyTrail. And there is my office phone. So if you've got any questions, you can reach out to me there. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing so I can see everybody. And I know it looks like we've got some more questions in the chat. So let's go ahead and see if we can answer those. And then if others have more questions, we can go from there.
Jen, I am going to just mention a question that's been asked several times in the chat, and I think you touched on it a little bit, but on the first day, as Jen said, you will go to your program class. So for those of you who maybe aren't as familiar with campus or you're not exactly sure where to go, you will receive an email here within the next couple days or early next week with a little bit of information, reminder about when to be here the first day, but it will also have the exact location of your program. So for those of you, I know some of you are in Hayes, I can tell by the questions. And on the Hayes campus, some of our buildings are downtown versus on the main campus. And so I will put on there the exact address of your shop if it is not on the main campus. So things like plumbing, heating, and air and electrical in Hayes, those will meet at their program shops. But for instance, their building is on the main street in Hayes. And I will, again, we'll send that out in an email with more information and exact locations.
Okay. I see there's a question about who's my advisor for telecommunications. Right now, we are going to have you work with our registrar or myself. So if you've got some questions right now, please reach out to Darcy Offit or myself for telecommunications. Let's see, other questions. It looks like Trisha, you've done a great job answering. Yep, if you're taking online courses, yes, you have an advisor. Anything that I'm missing, Trisha?
No, I think some of the, go ahead. Whoever was just asking.
I have just one more quick question. Does anybody know if the bookstore will ship to an APO address, or would that be more of a question for the customer service at the bookstore?
That would be questions to customer service at a bookstore, but I would highly encourage you just to have them shipped to campus. It's one less thing for you to so you just, I mean, one less thing to remember, or one less thing that you need to worry about.
But are you overseas right now taking online classes?
Oh, okay.
Yes, I am.
Yes. Okay. I thought I talked to you on chat just a little bit.
Okay.
But you can get on eCampus on the website. You can chat with them. So I would maybe send that question in the chat on there just to double check that you can do that. I believe
Okay.
you can, but I would do a double check with them before you have it shipped.
Okay. I just prefer physical books instead of digital books.
Yep, understand.
Another question, Jen, is if I purchase, do I need extra books from what I have already purchased for the first semester?
Okay, so if you've already purchased books for the first semester, you may need a few books for the second semester. So faculty members will put in what is required for spring courses towards the middle of the fall semester. Many of the times the books that you've used in the first semester carry through to your second semester, but there might be one or two additional books depending on your course. And you will need to purchase books for whatever gen eds you're taking in the spring semester. Good question. Same process in terms of financial aid vouchers. So financial aid is dispersed per semester. So we will do the same thing prior to the start of the second semester in the spring. We'll upload any excess financial aid vouchers. So you'll be able to do that same process. All right, well, we are at 7:30, so I sure appreciate all of your attention and all of you guys being here tonight. If you've got questions, please reach out. We've got about 3 weeks until classes start. We are super excited to see you on campus, and we are glad that you're going to be with us. We want to make sure that you feel comfortable and ready to start classes in August. So if there's any way that we can help you within these next 3 weeks navigate some of these processes, please reach out. We'd be glad to do that. I'm going to hang out here just for a little bit. And if you are on and still have a couple questions, I'd be willing to answer that. But if not, have a great night. Enjoy the remaining 3 weeks of your summer, and we'll see you soon.